Hey there, it's Brenda Meller with Meller Marketing, back for another edition of Social Media Pie, where I bring inspiring people to inform and educate you. And guys, it's a very, very special edition of Social Media Pie here today, because we're actually going to be including a panel in our discussion. And I'd like to welcome, first and foremost, my lovely co-host for today, Tina Marie Woolfield. Tina, how are you doing today?
I am fabulous. How are you, Brenda?
I am doing very well. We were kind of just in the green room in the getting started with the session, and I thought I heard a dog barking in the background. Was that one of your furry coworkers, perhaps?
Yeah, we have added to the internship program at Team Timawo, and we have a student from Kentucky, from rural
Student, love it.
Yeah. So he's a four-legged student, and he's still learning his house manners. So, yeah.
Isn't that sweet? Will he make an appearance during the session here today?
He very well could. Right now, he is in a counseling session for disruptive behaviors in the workplace, mandatory workplace harassment training.
You're being very professionally appropriate. Is the person crated by chance?
He is not.
No.
One of my teenagers is outside keeping him quiet, and I'm paying him a hefty amount to make that happen.
Excellent. Well, it's a pleasure having you and seeing you on screen here today. And so our topic today, guys, is HRUnite and the power of professional communities. And I want to just do a quick shout out and say hi for those of you who are watching, whether you're watching us on LinkedIn Live or Facebook Live. We're going to be bringing actually a couple more guests out to join us, Tina Marie. So why don't we start by, we'll include Tricia. We're going to add people one by one into the stream, if you will, here. And I'll turn the floor over to you, Tina Marie, to kind of set the stage here.
So Tricia is one of our rock star HR moderators of our first Grand Rapids group. So the original group, Grand Rapids 1. Tricia is also, for those of you that don't know, she is an Instagram, Groove, Twitter, and TikTok sensation in her spare time.
Awesome.
Inspiring everybody at Team Vaudeville, which, again, if you need swag like this, whoops, I'm trying to find swag like
there
this.
There you go.
Trisha's your gal. So Tricia, so glad to have you as one of my favorite HR awesome people. And we're so fortunate to have you in HRUnite community.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's great. Like you said, I work for Vaudeville. I'm the HR director there, and kicking off the HRUnite, the Grand Rapids 1 group. So that's pretty exciting. We meet the third Friday of every month typically we're at the Wealthy Street Bakery. So when the world gets right again, I can't wait to see everyone in person. But until then, we've been just meeting virtually with our group.
Awesome. Well, welcome, Tricia. Well, how about we bring the others up, and then we'll get into a little bit of a discussion about the groups here, if that sounds okay. So we'll bring our next special VIP guest. It's kind of like drum roll, please. They're all in the green room. They're like, I'm going to call next. I'm going to call next. It's Laura Van Hoot. So Laura, how are you doing today? Laura, I think you're muted, so we'll have to unmute you here. There you go. So Tina Marie, do you want to talk a little bit about Laura and how she came to be involved with HRUnite?
So Laura works at an amazing partner and amazing company called Michigan Planners, and they're based in Washington Township, but they're located all over the state. And Laura is one of my favorite collaborators. She's my partner in crime. We like to road show together. I'll never ask Laura for directions. I'll rely on her.
There's a backstory there.
She just points like this, and when you're driving, you're like, what does that mean? But Laura is, she graciously hosts 2 of our coffee talkies, our Washington Township, which has been out for a year now. And then we
it's been a year.
Second Washington Township location coffee talkie in April. So very grateful to have her. And again, if you ever need somebody in a street brawl, these 2 ladies are my wingmen.
Awesome. Well, Laura, welcome. And so nice to see you online today. How are you doing today?
Good. Hi, ladies. Thanks for everything. Yeah, Tina Marie is just amazing. And HRUnite is so fun. We love hosting everybody over at our Washington office. And I would say the one thing that I would consider if you need a pick-me-up, if you feel like not, doing a project, if you're overwhelmed, regardless of what stage you are in your life, professional, personal, going to a coffee talkie or just being involved with HRUnite will, in a heartbeat, change your demeanor. I guarantee you, just being surrounded by wonderful people, especially Tina Marie. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining. I think we've got two more folks. I'm actually going to pull them out at the same time here. The two gentlemen rounding off our panel of 6, if you will. We have Paul Sherwood and Tom Daniel. So Tina Marie, do you want to give a little bit of background of both of these gentlemen and how they're affiliated?
So both of these individuals have certainly high ranking in my inner circle of fun. First of all, Tom is, when Tom and I play euchre, we are the best euchre team ever assembled. We have table talk down to a science you'd never know. Tom he is from Ohio. We just kindly remind him occasionally that Michigan is above Ohio, geographically speaking, of course. But again, Tom, legitimately, I can say Tom is one of my best friends. And when HRUnite started growing, it was kind of this organic aspect is, why aren't we in Ohio? I'm like, I don't know, Tom. Why are we not? And then Tom was voluntold. But Tom works at Bowling Green State University. I will be a future Falcon mom in about 3 years. So hopefully Tom's still there. So if my son gets in trouble, Tom can get him out of it. And then,
welcome, Tom. It's nice to see you here today.
Yeah, thank you. Yep, good to see you guys as well. Great to be part of this this group. And yeah, as Tina Marie mentioned, we had enough interest in Ohio to create a group, and so we created one towards the end of last year, and then there was so much interest in that group that we created a second group. So we have 2 live groups in Ohio, both in the Toledo area so far, and so so far so good. It's fantastic. So it's good.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining.
We'll let my brother Paul here get ready started.
Yeah. So what's Paul's story and how did he become affiliated with the group? Tina Marie, do you want to set it up?
Paul is not only one of the most chivalrous individuals, kindest individuals in the entire world. He's the one breaking up the street brawl that Trisha and Laura and I got into with, I don't know, some random, workplace harassment issue we couldn't resolve. But Paul has been with me since day one. So when this even became a concept, and one Friday, when we had our first coffee talkie at Big B in Clinton Township, Paul was there and has helped me grow the group. And now Paul's pretty much been at like half of the launches. He's just there as an amazing power of the community to contribute. And I would say I'm always better every time I'm in a room with Paul. What Paul also does is he believes in random act of kindness, and he will phone or show up early to these locations like Big B, and he will say it's on Paul. And so when people go to pay, sometimes random strangers sneak in, but Paul is, out of the generosity of who he is often buying us rounds of coffee, which is why we keep inviting him to more and more.
Right. Well, welcome, Paul. It's nice to see you. Paul was on with me a few weeks back, and I think actually, Paul, you inspired. I think we were talking, and then we kind of brought Tina Marie into your interview, and then I saw StreamYard said we can invite 6 people. I said, hey, should we try this out with the 6-person panel? So, Paul, it's nice to see you. How are you doing today?
Doing great, thanks. I moved location. My coworkers, it's lunchtime, so they're like, we need the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'll go in the den. So yeah, but no, it's been great. It's great joining everybody. This is a great panelist. I really have a respect for what Tina Marie is doing in the HR community. Made the first trip out with Trisha to the Grand Rapids 1. Unfortunately, due to circumstances, I was not able to get back out that way. But I joined Tom with his Toledo 1 group, Laura's group. As Tina Marie said, I kind of help launch some of these, and it's just a great experience. I agree with Laura that when you get there and you get all these great people together for a common goal of helping each other, it does energize you. So, if you're feeling like, how do I take that first step in a project? How do I take a first step in leaving my current employer to go find a new employer? These groups are so energizing. It's fantastic.
That's awesome. So thank you guys for all joining and for being flexible. You guys, I mentioned we were in the green room before. I'm like, you guys are all my guinea pigs. This is the first time I'm doing a 6-person panel. So if you watch me on live, you know I don't ever make mistakes. I have learning experiences. So if we have any learning experiences, bear with me as we're going here. But we're actually just going to have a conversation today about HRUnite and the power of professional communities. So Tina Marie, I'm going to start with you. For those who aren't familiar with HRUnite, what is it? What's it all about? And then we'll get into the discussion about some of the coffee groups that the folks are moderating.
So HRUnite is a community of HR professionals with the sole focus of advancing our profession through impactful or powerful connections. And we feel as a profession, we're better together. It's not an association. The community belongs to all of us. So what's great about our HR community is sometimes we get so wrapped up in the silos of what's going on in our organizations, we forget to look outside. And when we look outside, we're able to grow and collaborate. And so our motto is truly, we're better together. It was a group that was co-founded with the idea of let's get people together to have honest dialogue, not for the sake of selling, but the sake of
Somebody disagrees with you on that, Tom. They're like, it's not true. You do sell.
But what's great about this is when we started with a happy hour, I never imagined the group would grow into what it's become.
Wow.
And I would say as a professional, especially now in the last over 2 months that we've been dealing with such a significant disruptions in our lives, if it weren't for this community, I don't know how I'd cope. I don't know when I'm having a day and a rough day and I feel like, you're dealing with, very negative or very, crazy, I'm going to say crazy, just navigating chaos. If, Trisha could text me or send me a note and say, hey, you know what, keep it up, keep that HR awesome up, or give me words of the day as we'll get through this, or you got this, or thanks, a simple thank you. And so it's been such a powerful impact that these groups just keep growing. And coffee talkies are small, intimate gatherings, and no more than 10, where you're part of the conversation at the center, and we can share things in a trusted environment. So if I want to talk about Tom and Tom's failure to comply with the dress code, then I can. And Tom's not there to, I can say what I need to say and get honest feedback or honest support, or get resources that just help me better myself or better my organization.
And as you were talking about dress code, guys, so one of the things we all decided to do coming into the session here today is we're all wearing swag. So are you guys all wearing swag? Do we all agree? Like, I can see.
Yep.
Okay, there you go. I gotta adjust my camera a little bit. I've got my we've all got like our branded apparel on today, which was kind of like, hey, we're all, representing our organizations. So HRUnite, Tina Marie, is not just Michigan though, right? I heard Ohio. So, and you've got groups that are sprouting out in different places throughout the country too?
There are 23 groups actively meeting. I'm going to say 21 are actively meeting right now because of COVID. We're meeting virtually, so we've adapted pretty quickly. And we are growing. We're just, there's some things happening behind the scenes. Once we're out of this pandemic, we will be in multiple states outside of Ohio and Michigan.
That's great. So why don't we, at this point, I'll ask each of you if you could tell us about your group, where it's located, when, or I should say where it was located when you met in person, right? Because now it's all virtual. And, how did you come about being involved with HRUnite? A little bit about your kind of background. How were you recruited or voluntold into the role, or, how did you kind of become involved with your coffee talkie group? So we'll go in the same order as when we started. We'll start with Trisha. So why don't you talk a little bit about the group, the coffee talkie group that you're affiliated with, and then how you came to be involved with HRUnite.
Sure. So I head up along with a couple other individuals. I would say it's a group effort. We all bringing, our best every day. But so we're Grand Rapids 1. We meet the third Friday of the month, and there's probably about 6 of us right now. And definitely was, I would say, voluntold by Tina, which is I'm happy to take the reins and help facilitate really great conversation. And that's definitely what we have. So I can share from experience. One of our members recently had a Department of Labor investigation. So they came to the group and we kind of talked about that and what they were dealing with, and really just tried to give them some energy and some guidance on some different things, and was really a sounding board. And recently we had a HRUnite happy hour, and I had a tough day. I'll tell you that. We had some legal things going on in the early days of COVID, and it was just a stressful day. So to be able to come to the full group that we had and have some jokes and some laughter, it definitely helped. And to talk to a group of individuals that is going through the same thing has been great.
That's awesome. And it sounds like, from your background, you said you're an HR manager with Vaudeville, and I'm familiar with Vaudeville. And I know she held up the promotional, but tell us a little bit more about what is Vaudeville. I remember it was like inspirational items or incentive items is kind of where in my mind categorically you guys sit. Is that right?
Yeah, so we're all in the employee rewards and engagement space. So we have 4 different brands under the Vaudeville brands umbrella, everything from promotional items such as her cup and identification solutions and branding, but it's really about giving recognition and inspiring people. So, our recent motto is inspired people, inspire people. And we really believe that and we live that. That's part of where we just recently kicked off the Groove dance video and just having fun and finding fun when we can, but really celebrating those moments at work and giving recognition to employees. And that's what Vaudeville Brands is about.
So she wasn't kidding about the Instagram, TikTok star. You really are on those.
Well, I'm not a TikTok star, but we did do a Groove video. We kicked it off with our president at Vaudeville Brands, and it really was a very fun thing to do. We made it into a challenge. So we created our video and we challenged other people in the organization to create one. And it's been fun to see and see our employees get involved in that and create other videos. So
that's awesome. Can we check those out? Are those videos public?
They're on the Groove. So yes, if you download the Groove, and the great thing about that is every time someone uploads a video, money is being sent to the frontline heroes. So there's a donation made with every single video that's created. So that was one of the reasons we wanted to inspire people to get involved with that cause during this time.
Oh, that's awesome. And you said Grand Rapids 1. Are you open to accepting new people to the group if folks watching today are in the Grand Rapids? Obviously the plan is the world's going to return, right? And then we're going to be able to meet in person again. So we're not looking to recruit people from across the country, but people in the Grand Rapids area, if they work in the HR industry and they're interested, are you guys open to accepting new members into your group over there?
We are. Grand Rapids 1 is accepting one. We have a second group, which is a Grand Rapids 2 group. I believe they are full at this time, but Grand Rapids 1 is accepting and would love to have a few additional members. So yeah, reach out to Tina Marie and we'll get you set.
Awesome. Thank you, Trisha. And let's go Laura next. So Laura, talk to us a little bit about kind of your background, how you came to be affiliated with HRUnite and which group you're meeting with virtually now. But when you were meeting in person, where were you guys meeting?
Sounds good. Well, I actually work at Michigan Planners. We're in Washington Township over at 27 in Van Dyke, and we have 2 coffee talkies now, but I originally met Tina Marie because I was hosting an event, and I believe I was networking with her on LinkedIn, just trying to come up with ideas on how potentially to get some people to attend. And this world, believe it or not, is so small. We think it's big, but it's really small. And I found out she was connected to Paul and maybe a handful of other peeps in the community, if you will say. So we have 2 coffee talkies.
Everyone, don't you think, Laura? Paul's one of those connectors of people. I'm it's 7 degrees for Paul Sherwood out there,
Yes. So we have one the 3rd Tuesday of every month, and then the last Wednesday of every month. But I don't know if anybody realizes, but where we're located, our space was previously a restaurant/cigar bar. So what I do is I hold different events. And when Tina Marie had suggested us holding a coffee talkie, I was like, woohoo, sign me up, because I love hosting events. I love not only serving coffee, but feeding people as many sweets as I can. So if anybody needs to get their fix of food, yeah,
there's always bumpy cake.
Yeah.
Bumpy cupcakes, yes.
Ooh, love it. Is that the Saunders bumpy cake?
Yes.
Bumpy cake. Nice. Awesome. And Lori, so your role, you're not in an HR role, but you're working with organizations that are planning events. So your affiliation is a natural one for organizations that are looking at planning events, which a lot of times it's the HR role, right? Kind of getting those folks together and putting together those events, right?
Well, we prepare events for the HR community, whether it be webinars on COVID-19 topics or in-person guest speakers like Clark Hill or another law firm, or whether it be virtual roundtables or in person. So
Okay.
I really like the fact that my mind might be focused on a different topic, but then when I'm at a coffee talkie and I hear someone to my right talk about their recruiting challenges or just something at work, all of a sudden my light bulb goes off. And I think of, another webinar we could have or whatnot. So it's very beneficial from a multitude of, paths.
Awesome. And it sounds like you're getting a lot of involvement. And I would say, I don't know if you were voluntold into the role, or did you step up and say, hey, Tina Marie, I'd like to create a group? I kind of feel like did you suggest it yourself to create a group, or how did you get involved originally?
I just remember we're eating at Brown Iron and we just kind of said, let's just make that happen.
Yeah.
And we just finished our coffee and then we talked about something else. So I think it was voluntold, but I was open to it.
I love that word voluntold. It just sounds so nice, right? It's like, oh, I was voluntold into it.
If you ever saw their space, you would know why.
Yeah.
That we meet there. The coolest office ever. Like a conference room was the former bar. Like it was
nice.
a full service restaurant. They have an industrial kitchen in there.
Wow. That's awesome.
It's just really cool. And yes, Laura was voluntold, but we're so gracious that she is. She's also a member of the event planning committee for HRUnite 2020, for the HRUnite Awards, to which Vaudeville is our official award company that we get our awards from. So big shout out to them. And wait a minute. Oh, I'm sorry. Brenda was an award winner last
year.
I
brought this out and I was like, I didn't want to say, I'm like, I think this was created by Vaudeville, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
And I actually have this on my little shelf, and this reminds me of a peacock, which is Tina Marie's thing, right? So really nice, really nice awards. I mean, this is a really heavy quality premium award. So very nicely done. So very cool. So Laura, with your group, we're jumping around a little bit, guys. Just roll with it. Just come with us along here. So Laura, with your group, are you open to accepting new folks to join, or is your group kind of at capacity, or where are you guys at?
Yeah, we're open to having them come on out and join us and see what, if they'd like to join our group, for sure.
Awesome.
And I might just steal Trisha's TikTok video idea. I'm not a stealer of ideas, but I will openly admit that's priceless. So you might see some.
It's good for a good cause.
Yeah, I love that there's like a lot of collaboration and idea sharing, and it's really you're inspiring one another. We're not necessarily stealing. It's more like we're being inspired and we're sharing resources and all good things. So awesome. Well, thank you, Laura, for sharing that. Yeah. And I'll remind you guys, if you're watching, so you said, was it Washington Township? Am I remembering the city correctly, Laura? So
Washington Township.
Washington Township. So if you're interested, go through Tina Marie first to kind of request your way into the group, and she'll help you out. Tom Daniels, let's talk about Tom. So Tom, I've just known you for all the HR events for many years. So how did you become affiliated with HRUnite? And tell us a little bit about your group. Where do you meet, and who does it consist of? Why are you involved?
So yeah, I was voluntold as well, or at least I was asked. So we had a lot of interest as folks were hearing about HRUnite happening in Michigan. There were a lot of Toledo folks who had contacted Tina Marie and said, "Hey, is there Ohio groups?" And a lot of the folks were from the Toledo area, so she just kind of sent me a note and said, "Hey, I got a lot of interest in the area. Would you be open and interested to moderate a group?" And of course, I said yes. So it was great to have that. We started a group that actually meets at Panera in Perrysburg. So we have it's kind of the southern part of our Toledo area. So we had a pretty good start right off the start. We had a good group, and then there was, of course, once those people were talking about what they were doing, there was a lot of interest just within their networks to say, "Hey, what are you guys doing? What is that? How do I get in?"
Right. Yeah.
Because we had a fairly large group. I'm going to give a shout out to my cohort, Gail Ritchie. Gail works for Rudolph Libby. She's an HR manager for Rudolph Libby. And so Gail and I were kind of the moderators for that first group. And then we just kind of grew into, hey, there's an opportunity for a second group. So Gail actually moderates a second group in the Toledo area. We meet at Rust Belt Coffee in downtown Toledo. So we have two really good groups currently happening. Let's see, the Perrysburg group meets the last the first Thursday of the month, first thing in the morning. And then the downtown group meets at the last Thursday of the month. So so there's a little bit of division there in terms of, and Gail and I will pop back and forth to make sure that we're moderating the groups and making sure that things are rolling as they should. It is a group where you're supporting each other and providing trusting relationships and trusting opportunities to be able to have a conversation, and it is a zero sales environment. So, I kind of see that as my job is, hey, if there's any of that happening, it's my job to shut it down.
To escort them out the door, right? To take them out of the Panera. Get them out of there.
We're here to support each other and provide ideas and give everybody support and create an environment of trust where everybody in the group becomes a trusted advisor. I think that's kind of the way I like to look at it, is we have this group of trusted advisors that, in confidence, that we can share with each other. In our group, our Perrysburg group, I will tell you, we've had some really deep, challenging conversations about stuff that's happened in the workplace and how do I deal with this? Has anybody dealt with that before? And even what are your policies regarding certain issues? And some of those have been really deep, tough conversations.
Oh, there we go. I was just out for a second and I'm back. Sorry about that. Not sure what happened. Go ahead.
Just so that that idea of being able to share information, to ask for help, and not be afraid to ask for help because you have the supportive team around you, and really just being open with each other. And I kind of like to say, our HRUnite groups are kind of like Vegas. What happens in HRUnite stays in our HRUnite. Yeah. We're not to share that with everybody else. So
I was just going to ask if there's kind of like an agreement, there, like what's said between the walls, because you do have to have a trusted environment. And then there's rules of the group. So, I mean, do you guys start meetings by saying, hey, here's some reminders about what this group is all about? And, or is it kind of understood within the community there?
We started that way, but I think everybody who's part of the group knows that coming in. And so, and frankly, some of the conversations we have, that you don't want that shared because it's some pretty deep and internal stuff. And so being able to share that with somebody who's maybe gone through it or needs ideas is incredibly powerful. So so 2 groups in Toledo. In terms of open to new members, we could probably have a few members for the Perrysburg group, maybe 1 or 2. And I think the downtown group is pretty full. So if there's people in the Toledo region who are interested, shout out to Tina Marie, give me a shout. If we can get enough, we'll create a 3rd group. Absolutely.
So that brings up a question. So how large is a group when it becomes too large? Is it 6 people? Is it 10 people? Is it 20 people? Like, when do you break it off into a second group?
I think when you get past 12, it becomes too many.
Okay.
Tina Marie was,
ideally it's 10.
10. Okay.
So we'll have more than 10 on the invite. However, anytime a conversation gets above 10, not everybody can be part of it. And so it's that intimacy of the dialogue that is what makes this such a beautiful place to be a part of.
Love it. It's really great. Well, cool. So let's bring in Paul for to kind of round us off here in the discussion. So Paul, tell us a little bit about your background, how you got involved with HRUnite, and then the group that you're involved with in the Coffee Talkie.
Yeah, so I think the common thread for all of us is Tina Marie, right? So we all know Tina Marie. I've worked with her in the past. And for me, I'm not a moderator of any one particular group. Like Tina Marie said, I was there at the very start. And I've kind of been, I guess I've learned today that I'm there for the coffee, as far as, it's on.
Literally, you're there for the coffee, like to supply.
But I don't drink coffee. That's the funny thing. I don't drink coffee, but I'm there for the coffee. Yes.
Love it.
But no, in all seriousness, I think it's I'm kind of a sub or an alternate moderator if Tina Marie needs me. So I've been to 4 or 5 different coffee talkies, and I attend 3 on a regular basis. So if something comes up for her and she's like, hey, I have a client that needs me, can you be there and start us off and kick off the coffee talkie? I'm more than happy to do that for her. So I don't have any one particular group, but I belong to enough of them where I have the sense of how it works and the trust and the opening up conversations, and not that it's ever needed to happen, but the ability to kind of step in and say, okay, let's move on to somebody else. We've never really had to do that. So no one person tries to either sell and or kind of
dominate,
dominate the conversation around their situation. So
gotcha. Well, that sounds great. So I remember my husband used to work in retail, and I remember there was people, they were called floaters, and they were like an assistant store manager that wasn't assigned to any one store, but they would call the district manager. And I remember especially during the holiday season and say, okay, where do you need me? So it sounds like, Paul, that's what you are as a floater. You would be designated.
I'm definitely a floater.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't know, that's a retail, I think it's a retail term. I remember it from my husband's retail days, but it's kind of like you're flexible. You've got that great skill where you can work well within any group. And Tina Marie sounds like she's seen that in you, and she can tap you as needed. So what I'd like to do, guys, is we're going to open this up to Q&A. So we're streaming right now live on LinkedIn, live on Facebook. And I'm just kind of curious if anybody's watching is affiliated with any of these groups. Drop us a comment below, share with us if you can what value you're gaining out of being involved with the HRUnite community. And if you have any questions, I mean, we've got some great folks here on the line who are affiliated, and I'm kind of curious, as we're waiting for those questions to come in, guys, how quickly you went from meeting in person to meeting online. Like, did you stop? Did you stop and say, okay, we're going to wait until, things, or did you immediately? Anybody want to respond to that? I see Tom nodding. Do you want to kind of talk about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We flipped right away. I think that the folks in our group still wanted to have that interaction, still wanted to have those conversations, still need the support from each other. And so we went right away. We went virtual. And so I don't think we missed a beat at all.
Okay. And do you guys meet on Zoom, or what platform are you using?
WebEx.
WebEx. Okay. Tina Marie, how about you? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The rest of our groups outside of Tom are meeting on Zoom.
Zoom. Okay.
Which Tom's group meets at the same time another group does. So it helps me out that we were able to be able to co-meet because there's different platforms.
Gotcha. Okay. How about any of you others want to respond to, how quickly did you shift to online? And I would imagine with everything going on in the world, I mean, gosh, there was pretty heavy stuff we were all going through from an HR perspective. How do we get our team set up from working from home? How do we deal with the stress? How do we deal with managers who are not sure if their employees are working? So there was probably an immediate, I needed my support system all the way through the process, I would imagine, right? Does anyone want to comment on that?
We had a 2-week lag. So I know Trisha's group, which meets the last week of the month. So it was Trisha, Washington Township 1, Grand Rapids 1, and Traverse City, and one of the Clinton Township groups. Those 4 groups did not meet in March.
Okay.
Outside of that, once April 1st hit, we went on Zoom.
Okay.
So, and for those, there's individuals that have things they can't make it, then they can't make it. Those that do. And so that's the beauty of these. It's since it's not a formal association, there's no cost to attend. We're just there for people that need us. And sometimes those 2 or 3 people that meet, like Tom will say, there's been some intense conversations that have happened because it's that intimacy. So it can go anywhere from 2 to 10. And we've had pretty good attendance as far as end of April and May.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would imagine you need that support system going throughout.
I would share that our downtown group actually met right before all the stuff really started happening. So they meet the first Thursday. So it was the very first Thursday of March. And already there were conversations about, well, what are you guys doing in the workplace? Because we have some groups in manufacturing. So they were starting to talk about, well, what are you making any changes to what you're doing? Because it seems to be heading in a direction that's going to cause some pain. And so a lot of that, actually that session was about, hey, it's started, and it wasn't really full blown, right? It wasn't everybody's working from home and all the schools are shut down. It wasn't quite there yet. It was starting those conversations, and it was about what are you guys doing and how do we support? Do we have a policy in place yet? Is the policy right? Because there weren't a need necessarily always to have that policy, but starting to put those policies in place and sharing those ideas. So that group met right before it all came down. So I think they were supporting each other, and that's what was important.
I mean, someday, guys, we're going to look back at this, and right now we're in the middle of it, so we can't really see it because we're a part of the story. But someday we're going to look back, and there's going to be stories and books that are written about, how to prepare your your team for a pandemic and leadership through a pandemic and HR policies. I mean, there's going to be so much that comes out of this. So there's a huge opportunity for all of you in the marketplace. So what I'd like to do at this point is I'm just going to go through and see folks who are joining us on LinkedIn. So we'll give some shout outs to folks here. If you guys have any questions, drop them in, and then we'll wrap in a little bit. I'll give every person the opportunity to give some final closing remarks about HRUnite, their business as well. But right now, what I'd like to do is go through and give some shout outs to those who are joining us. So we have Allison Jelliff. Nice to see you, Allison. Kellyanne Holcomb, Chicago, Troy. Who's the coworker? Tina Marie, we got to see. We have a barking coworker. Don't you guys feel like when there's a barking dog or a child, I'm like, oh, let's stop. Can we see who that is? I just want to see who it is right now.
He just got whisked away. He's my newest addition. This is the intern coordinator behind me, Tessa.
Tessa?
And what you're hearing is Dalton. He's a German Shepherd. So
Aw. We don't have any pets in the home, so I'm like, I want to see the doggies, you guys. Yeah, we're hoping to get a dog someday, but we'll see. All right, so back, I get like what is it called? Shiny object syndrome.
Yeah, Squirrel.
What's that movie? Squirrel. What was that movie? Up. Do you guys remember that movie? Up. Squirrel. That's me. All right, so let's see who we have on here. Catherine Bigenho says hello, and we're making her Monday. So thank you, Catherine, for joining us on your Monday here today. We have Leah Garba joining us from Lake St. Clair, Michigan. She says, what an awesome group of humans. And I have to agree with all of you guys. I love all of you, and I'm so glad you made the time today. We have Marina joining us from New York City. We have Matt Lester from Metro Detroit. Maureen Palmer says, Tina Marie, you are so funny. I agree there. Great sense of humor. Great on the line here. We have Teresa Moore from Southfield, Michigan. We have Studi joining us from India. So guys, we are international. We are live streaming, and we have a global audience with us here today. We have Laura Calderon joining us from Miami. John Wick says hello, everyone. Mary Ellen. Let's see. Omer says hi. We have Dr. Seema Neji joining us from India. Bill Stevens, locally here in Michigan. Nice to see you, Bill. Justina says, great group of HR rock stars. Justina Casillas, I'm guessing she might be affiliated. She's got one of those acronyms that you guys all have, the PHRSHRMCP. Who can tell me what that means? This is like pop quiz.
It makes us smart.
Yeah.
It makes us more money.
It's the SHRM Certified Professional.
What does it mean?
The SHRM Certified Professional.
Okay, so what is it? It's like an acronym for something, though, isn't it? PHR and then SHRM. What does that mean?
Yeah, so it's the Society for Human Resource Management, and then they're a certified professional. So they've passed a rigorous course, and we're able to get that certification. So good job for those that have done that.
Okay, and I think like a lot of you guys have those letters next to your name. I know Tina Marie, she's got like one. She's got like a couple of them after her. She's a very smart HR professional. So let's see. We have Shannon Brody who says, hi, everyone. Cynthia Moni says hello. Shannon's joining us from Woodhaven. We have Robert joining us from Poland. We have Alexandra Siljelbach joining us from Michigan. Cynthia Moni joining us from Trotwood, Ohio. Ronak says hello. Julie Ford says hello. Megan from Perrysburg. Patricia Zazzetti from Metro Detroit. She's got an SPHR, so I'm guessing she's affiliated within the HR community here as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
she's part of our Southfield group.
Okay.
Patricia.
So you have other groups. I mean, Tina Marie, we have just, I think, like 3 or 4 groups that are represented on the call right now. Tina Marie, do you oversee one of the HR talkie groups as well, or are you kind of the ringleader of all of the groups? Tell me about that.
I have several.
Okay.
I have a few, and then that's when I started phoning friends, and I wanted to take this moment to say thank you of the sincerest gratitude to the 4 of you on the call. HRUnite and our growth would not have happened without people helping me champion that cause and that message. Mm-hmm. And again, these are 4 of the most amazing HR awesome people I know. Mm-hmm. And again, I owe so much to all of you and your impact you're making for the groups that you monitor or moderate. Mm-hmm. Just, you have no idea the impact you're making. And sometimes we don't see it, and sometimes we do. So thank you. Thank your employers. Thank Vaudeville, IMED, BGSU, and Michigan Planners for giving you the opportunity and the time to be able to do that. You're great representatives for the organizations. You're great champions for HR, and you're just good humans.
That's awesome. I just got a really great photo idea, you guys. Can we all point at Tina Marie right now? Because this will be my YouTube. I'm going to point this way. And it's kind of backwards. You got to point like the direction that she's at. There. No, don't. That looks like that. There we go. This will be my YouTube cover image for this session right here. There we go.
The Brady Bunch.
It's kind of crazy though, because like when I'm pointing left and it looks like I'm pointing right. So everything's a little disoriented when you're on camera because it's all reversed. So gosh, this hour moved really quick, didn't it? And we're kind of nearing the end of our session. So what I'd like to do is we'll go around any final comments you'd like to say, and we'll go Trisha, Laura, Tom, Paul, and then Tina Marie will end with you because I'd like you to talk a little bit about upcoming events for HRUnite, how people sign up. We'll talk about your online conference that's coming up as well. But for the rest of you, what I'd like you to do is any kind of final comments for the group, people who are thinking about becoming involved in HRUnite, why should they? And if you want to give any plugs for your company or any shout outs or anything, feel free as well. So Trisha, we'll start with you.
I think Tina always does a great job of reminding us. So I'll use her words that, we are better together, and we definitely are. And so I would just encourage any professional, HR professional that, is interested in, especially going through the time that we are right now, really needs some sounding board and needs a community to reach out, because even though some of these groups are full, we will find a spot for anybody that's interested. So if you're looking for a community of individuals that are passionate about what we're doing and helping others and just having a great sounding board, I would just encourage everybody to get involved and reach out, and we'll find a spot for you.
Awesome. And Trisha, I'm dropping your LinkedIn URL kind of below. It's a little bit below the screen in here. For folks, I would encourage them to look up Trisha on LinkedIn. Are you open to accepting new connections, Trisha, or do you only connect with folks that you know, or what's your thought there?
Send them my way. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. And when you guys, if you do invite these folks to connect on LinkedIn, mention the session, tell Trisha how awesome she was for being on today, and mention that in your invite to connect. All right, Laura, how about you go next?
I would just say that everyone, regardless of where you are at professionally, everyone needs a network of trusted people. And it may not be HRUnite, it may just be a podcast, or it may be, phone a friend every Monday at 2 or whatnot. But I would say definitely HRUnite will give you a chance to not only, throw ideas back and forth, but to really collaborate and build relationships. I remember there was one woman in our Washington group that had spent several months looking for a job, and we were all behind her, encouraging her. And I remember one coffee talkie where she had received a phone call literally 20 minutes before that coffee talkie, and she was offered the job. So we all did a mimosa toast, and we just, threw up our hands and celebrated, gave her hugs, and it was just a great experience. And I know she was so thankful and appreciative for our support, the months until that job offer.
That's awesome.
So we are definitely open to accepting new members, and, we would welcome that phone call or email.
All right, Laura, and I put your LinkedIn URL below here too. Are you open to accepting invitations?
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. Thank you, Brenda.
Perfect.
And thank you, Tina Marie. You always give such gracious words to others. I think we all can agree that we feel the same about you as well.
Oh, thank you. I totally agree. Yeah. All right. So let's move on to Tom Daniels. Tom, do you want to kind of offer any final comments here?
Yeah, absolutely. And Laura kind of stole a little of my thunder, because I would agree with Laura in terms of the concept of, HRUnite is kind of like that mastermind group that you always hear about. You need to have a supportive environment around you to be able to achieve your goals. And HRUnite provides that for folks who are part of the HR community. And so getting an opportunity to be able to share ideas and grow professionally from an organization like that is priceless. And so if you're interested, again, I highly recommend that you find a group in your region, or talk to somebody who's part of a group in your region. And if you're interested in starting one, reach out to Tina Marie. She's open to those ideas. It's just about making sure that you're doing it right. That's the key point, right? We want to make sure that it's a supportive and collaborative environment, and making sure that, again, what happens at HRUnite stays at HRUnite. And so definitely find those opportunities to be able to share and interact. And if an HR group is what you need, then HRUnite's the place for you. Toledo groups, again, I think the Fair group could be open to a person or two. We've actually added a couple of folks to our group, and one right away was able to find a job. Ironically, she found a job through another HRUnite member from up in Michigan, and now she works kind of in the Toledo region. So, that's another way. It just happens. And so she was new to the area. She kind of put something out on LinkedIn that said she was new to the Toledo area and was looking for an HR role. Tina Marie happened to see it, said, hey, connect with these people. They'll help you. We connected her to our HRUnite group in Perrysburg, and then boom, she got a job, not through our group in Toledo, but through another HRUnite member in Michigan. So
that's awesome.
Things happen, right? And so as long as you're open and open to sharing and getting those opportunities to learn from each other, the organization could be great for you. So so Brenda, thank you for hosting, and Tina Marie, thanks for the invite to participate as well.
All right, thanks, Tom. And are you open to LinkedIn invitations? I put your URL below the screen there as well.
Absolutely, and I would say the same thing Brenda said. Just make sure you mention where, and a blanket invitation.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Tom. And Paul, let's move on to Paul now.
Yeah, I think that, Tricia, Laura, Tom, they said it best. They said it very well, and there's not much more I can add to that. I think the idea and the notion of getting together with like-minded individuals for support, for ideas, even during COVID-19, during these virtual coffee talkies, we're seeing people collaborate on, how are you guys preparing to get back to work, right? We're hearing those kind of discussions of, what are you doing with your lunchroom? Are you taking people's temperatures before they come into your planes? Whatever it may be. So it's just that whole notion and idea of collaborating with people. And so I'm going to do this because I know she wouldn't do it. So give me 1 second.
I love the impromptu stuff. I have no idea what he's doing right now. Oh, awesome. Do I have my book? Oh, I'm going to grab mine too now that you did that.
So
good call, Paul.
Good call, Paul.
Oh, wrong.
So
if you had mine handy, I'd show you too.
So in all reality, it's a matter of, I think this is kind of a big premise of HRUnite, and the idea of like people stopping, collaborating, and listening to each other.
Yeah.
Right. And so these are just great platforms for people to, put their minds together, help people out that are in transition, help people out who are in a pickle at their current HR role. Maybe there's an EEOC situation, maybe there's a COVID-19 outbreak in their plants, whatever it may be. They're leaning on each other to say, what has anybody come across this before, and what did you do? So instead of starting from 0, people are starting at 50, maybe all the way to 100. They have a great idea that they did at their last job, and they're like, hey, why don't you try this? And like, oh my gosh, that's just perfect for us. And so they just implement what somebody else has already done, and it's taken away that stress level of, I don't know where to go. This has never happened at their company before. So it's just a great opportunity for people. And I would highly suggest reaching out to either the current moderators here, Tina Marie directly. It's been such a wealth of knowledge and collaboration that it's been very fun to join these coffee talkies.
Well, thank you, Paul. And are you open to accepting invitation requests from people on LinkedIn?
But of course,
there you go. Link below, guys. Check that out. So thank you, Paul. What an awesome group of people, Tina Marie. I have to commend you. Hopefully you guys that are watching can tell, but these are warm, caring, genuine, authentic people that care about community. They care about their fellow HR practitioners. And Tina Marie, you have to have moments where you sit back and go, wow, I did this. I created this. I started this. It's just amazing, the group that you have created through HRUnite. So I just really want to commend you and thank you for bringing the group together on the call here today. And I want to give you that platform. Any kind of final comments about HRUnite here as we wrap? And do you want to give a little plug to your upcoming July virtual event as well?
Sure. Well, I want to mention that since we are not an association, the HR community is so expansive that we have members of AHRM, which is SHRM out of Grand Rapids. We have ATD. We have NORA, which is out of Toledo. So we support our SHRM chapters. We support SHRM, which is Professional Associations for HR. There's other associations, American Payroll Association, the NAAHR, which is the National Association of African Americans in Human Resources. So it's there to kind of take what we're learning from those affiliated resources and just continue the conversations in a different manner over coffee or whatever beverage you may like. So I want to mention that to say if you're an HR professional, if you're a student looking to get into our field and you want to find somewhere to get learning opportunities and just great mentorship exposure, if you're in transition, if you're anywhere from a generalist to a CHRO, we're inclusive. We've all been at different various stages of our career. And again, that's where you can leverage the power of our community, because we are better together. And that's the legacy I want to leave is I don't want HR to be like the teaching profession where everybody's not going into that area of focus in college or whatnot. So we don't have individuals that are building the ranks for our future. So I want to make that reference. And again, thank all of their associations, all of the things that everybody is doing from a professional aspect. This is just another way to connect with fellow humans and have impactful dialogue, or use those relationships to help open doors, resources, or just help you cope and navigate our day-to-day lives. So hopefully, and again, I know the groups that all 4 of these other individuals are part of, that's happening. And I can tell you that from experience, but it's not about me. I appreciate the fact of that love, but the groups, HRUnite is so great because of the people within it.
Right.
And having that dialogue and having that trusted place to go. So we do have some cool things happening. First of all, HRUnite 2020 was going to be our first conference. We have 8 hours of professional development. In fact, Tom Daniels was going to do a workshop, and Brenda, I believe you are slated on the docket as well.
I am.
It was slated for Frankenmuth, which who doesn't want chicken dinner, for 2 days in July. And unfortunately, because of COVID, we just made the decision to go virtual. So it is going to be webinar format over 2 days, because I don't know about any of you. I personally cannot sit on a Zoom call for more than 3.5 hours. I have done it, and I have literally been spent, or it became a drinking game. So which could occur, again, who knows in the format. So HRUnite 2020 is now virtual. It is $60 for 8 amazing credit hours. We have 2 great keynotes, James Reed, Terry Bean, and then 4 great workshop presenters. And it's a great representation of HRUnite Michigan and HRUnite Ohio. So we're hoping you can still join us in that format. The other thing I want to mention is we have this way of thanking a fellow professional. There's so much people are doing in the trenches right now, especially now, that we have, it's called the HRUnite Awards. It's a way for us to give a nod to somebody else in our community. So it is not self-nominations. You have to be tapped. And so we have 3 categories: Inspire, Advocate. No, Advocate's the one I get to pick. That's another category. But Inspire, Community, and why am I missing the 3rd one? Anyway, it's an awesome category, whatever it is.
Okay.
You get a really cool swag, like Brenda showed us at the start of the call, which comes from, again, my favorite rewards and recognition company, which is not a plug, but Vaudeville has the coolest stuff. And I am a HR peacock, so how cool is this? It's like they designed this just for me. But it's a way for us to nominate somebody for the work that sometimes you feel goes unnoticed. So hopefully you want to nominate somebody. And we're having the awards in November in Troy, Michigan. It's a great luncheon. It's amazing food. It's at Maggiano's Little Italy. And again, we're hoping that you can nominate or join someone today. So outside of that, those are our 2 main events coming on board. And then hopefully if conferences occur again, we'll start doing happy hours. Fingers crossed, we'll be out of the pandemic and can meet in groups of 10 next month.
I don't know, but I think like the happy hours are going to be the first things that come back before the networking events, guys. Right? I mean, we all have our vices.
We're doing our virtual happy hour on Thursday. Our Unite group is doing ours on Thursday. Correct. Yep.
Yeah, I saw that. I was going to ask you if it was just a little confusion. This is 4:00 in the afternoon, and I was like,
Oh,
nice.
was it 4 or 5? Oh, maybe it was 4.
Maybe it's 2:00.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right?
That's right.
You never know what's in here.
Yeah.
You never know. Could be wine. Never know.
All right, guys. Well, we're at the hour, and I know you all have busy days, so I just want to say thank you all for joining here today. I really appreciate your time, and it's so nice to see faces other than my family. I love my family. Don't get me wrong, but it's so nice to see faces. When you go out in public, they're all covered by face masks. So it's so nice to see like faces and smiles. And, I love my family too. I heard my husband grumbling in the background right now. But it's so nice to see you all. And I look forward to seeing you virtually or in person here in an event here soon. But thank you again, Tina Marie. Trisha, Laura, Tom, and Paul for joining. Guys, take care. Have a great week ahead. And, be sure to check us out online for future editions of Social Media Pie. All right, everybody, take care. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, guys. Thanks.